I found a note on my kitchen counter this morning. It said, "Don't trust him." It was in my handwriting. I live alone. Some thoughts feel like they belong to someone else. Some memories have fingerprints that don't match our own. This is Hollow Thoughts. And this is what I've been trying to understand. The notes started about 3 weeks ago. Small things at first. A post-it on the bathroom mirror, "Take your keys." A sticky note on the fridge, "Call Mom." I assumed I'd written them. I've always had a poor memory. I lose track of things. Everyone does. But then I found one I couldn't explain. Tucked under my pillow. It said, "You forgot again." I hadn't written that. I would remember writing that, wouldn't I? I started paying closer attention after that. I'd check my hands before bed, make sure they were clean, no ink. I'd count the pens in my drawer, count them again in the morning. And every few days, there'd be a new note, somewhere in the apartment. Somewhere I'd find it. They were always in my handwriting, not similar to mine. Mine. The same hesitant loops on my lowercase e's, the same slightly crooked t's. I tried to convince myself I was sleepwalking, writing in some half-conscious fugue state. It made sense. It was explainable. But the notes started changing. One appeared on my bedroom door. "Check the closet." I didn't check the closet, not that night. But the next morning, there was another note, same spot. "Why didn't you check?" My hands were shaking when I read it, because that note knew. It knew I hadn't checked, which meant something was watching me, something that knew what I did, and it was still using my handwriting. I installed a camera in my living room, aimed it at the kitchen counter where most of the notes appeared. I watched the footage the next day, scrubbed through 8 hours of nothing, an empty apartment, still air, my coffee mug sitting exactly where I left it. And then, at 3:14 a.m., I walked into frame. My eyes were open. My hand was holding a pen. I wrote something on a piece of paper, set it on the counter, and walked back toward the hallway. I watched myself do it. I don't remember doing it. I don't remember getting out of bed. I don't remember anything. The note I'd written that night said, "You're not asking the right questions." I stared at the footage again, and I noticed something I hadn't before. When I turned to walk away, I paused, just for a second, and I looked directly at the camera. Not with confusion, not like someone who was asleep. I looked at the camera like I knew it was there, like I was waiting for myself to see it. I told myself it was stress, that I'd been working too much, sleeping too little, that my mind was fragmenting under pressure, and this was just a symptom. But then I found a note I hadn't seen before. It was older than the others. The ink had faded, the paper had yellowed at the edges. It was behind my dresser, folded into a tight square, and it said, "He's not real. You made him up. You made him up because you couldn't live with what you did." I don't know who he is. I've tried to remember. I've sat in the dark and searched my own mind like a house I used to live in, and there are rooms I can't open, doors that don't have handles anymore. I can feel something behind them, something that knows me better than I know myself, and the notes keep coming. Last night I found one on the floor by my bed. I hadn't even gotten out of the covers yet. It said, "You're getting close," and underneath that, in smaller, shakier writing, "Stop looking." 2 sentences, 2 different instructions, both in my handwriting. I think there are 2 of me now, one that wants to remember, and one that's afraid of what I'll find. They're both me, I know that.
But the part that's afraid, it's getting louder. I haven't slept in 2 days. Every time I close my eyes, I feel my hand reaching for a pen. I can feel the words rising up through my arm like something trying to escape. And I don't know anymore if I'm the one writing the notes or if I'm the one receiving them. Maybe I'm both. Maybe I've always been both. Maybe the version of me that did something unforgivable is the real one. And this version of me is just the story I tell myself so I can sleep at night. There's a new note on my desk. I found it this morning. I don't remember writing it, but I'm looking at it now. And for the first time, it's not a warning. It's a question. It says, "Do you really want to know?" And I don't know what to write back. I think some of you understand that feeling of being watched by something that lives behind your own eyes. The fear that the worst thing you've ever done isn't gone. It's just hiding, somewhere in your own mind, waiting for you to remember. If this reached you, if it made you feel something you couldn't quite explain, leave a thought below. I want to know I'm not alone in this. And if you want to stay, if you want to keep exploring the places the mind doesn't want us to go, subscribe to Hollow Thoughts, because some doors, once opened, don't close again.